Imagine a fighter jet so advanced for its time that it could fly low at supersonic speeds, sneak under enemy radar, and deliver heavy firepower with pinpoint accuracy. A jet so versatile, it became the backbone of U.S. tactical air power for decades. Today, we're diving into the legendary General Dynamics F-111 Aardvark, one of the most fascinating and controversial warplanes ever built. The story of the F-111 begins in the 1960s, during the height of the Cold War. The U.S. Air Force and Navy both needed a next-generation aircraft. The Air Force wanted a long-range supersonic strike fighter capable of penetrating Soviet air defenses, while the Navy demanded a carrier-based interceptor with powerful radar and missiles. Instead of building two separate jets, Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara pushed for a single solution, the TFX program Tactical Fighter Experimental. The result was the F-111, later nicknamed the Aardvark for its long nose and terrain-hugging capabilities. The F-111 was ahead of its time, packed with groundbreaking features that set it apart from anything else in the skies. Let's break down its key design elements. Swing wing design. The F-111 introduced variable geometry wings, also known as swing wings. These wings could extend outward for slow-speed takeoffs and landings, and sweep back at high angles for supersonic flight. This gave the Aardvark unmatched versatility, a plane that could be both a long-range bomber and a fast interceptor. Side-by-side cockpit. Unlike traditional fighters, the F-111's cockpit seated two crew members side by side, the pilot and weapons systems officer. This not only improved communication but also made long missions more manageable. Escape capsule. Instead of traditional ejection seats, the F-111 had a crew escape capsule. In emergencies, the entire cockpit would separate and parachute safely, a feature designed for survivability at extreme speeds and altitudes. Terrain following radar, TFR. One of its most innovative features was the automatic terrain following radar. This allowed the Aardvark to fly just 200 feet above the ground at over 600 miles per hour, weaving through valleys and hills while the pilot kept hands off the controls. This low-level penetration gave it stealth-like qualities before stealth even existed. Now, let's talk raw numbers. What kind of performance did this beast deliver? Engines. The F-111 was powered by two Pratt & Whitney TF30 afterburning turbofan engines, each producing over 20,000 pounds of thrust. Speed. It could hit speeds of Mach 2.5 at altitude that's over 1,800 miles per hour. Range. With its large internal fuel tanks and optional external tanks, the Aardvark could fly over 3,500 miles without refueling, making it one of the longest-legged fighters of its era. Payload. It could carry up to 31,500 pounds of weapons, from precision-guided bombs to nuclear payloads, giving it firepower comparable to a strategic bomber. The F-111 had a rocky start. Early in its career, engine problems, overweight design issues, and cost overruns earned it plenty of critics. But once these kinks were ironed out, the Aardvark proved itself in combat. Vietnam War. The F-111 first saw action in Operation Combat Lancer, 1968. Although early losses raised questions, its ability to strike targets deep in enemy territory under heavy defenses soon made it invaluable. Operation El Dorado Canyon, 1986. Perhaps its most famous mission, F-111s flew from bases in the UK all the way to Libya, striking key targets in retaliation for terrorist attacks. This mission showcased its long-range strikeability and pinpoint accuracy. Gulf War, 1991. During Desert Storm, F-111Fs became known as tank plinkers, using laser-guided bombs to surgically destroy Iraqi armored vehicles and infrastructure with deadly precision. The Aardvark wasn't just one plane, it became a whole family of aircraft. F-111A, the original production version. F-111B, a naval version for aircraft carriers, cancelled due to weight and performance issues. FB-111A, a strategic bomber variant for the U.S. Strategic Air Command. F-111F, the most advanced strike version, with upgraded avionics and precision targeting. EF-111A Raven, an electronic warfare version designed to jam enemy radar, nicknamed the Spark Vark. Each variant showed how adaptable the airframe really was. Every aircraft has its highs and lows, and the F-111 was no different. Strengths: incredible range and payload capacity, low-level supersonic penetration, versatile swing-wing design, advanced avionics for its time. Weaknesses: expensive and complex to maintain, initial reliability issues, too heavy for carrier operations, which doomed the Navy version. Despite these flaws, the Aardvark carved its place as one of the most effective strike aircraft of the Cold War. By the 1990s, technology had moved on. The U.S. Air Force gradually retired the F-111 in favor of newer jets like the F-15E Strike Eagle and eventually the F-35 Lightning II. The last American F-111s were retired in 1998. But the story didn't end there. The Royal Australian Air Force, RAAF, continued flying the F-111 until 2010, earning it the affectionate nickname Pig for its terrain-hugging strike tactics. Australians loved it so much that its retirement was marked with public ceremonies and tributes. Today, the F-111 lives on in museums, airshows, and the memories of those who flew and maintained it. Its legacy paved the way for modern strike fighters. The F-111 Aardvark was more than just a jet, it was a technological leap. It taught engineers, pilots, and strategists lessons that shaped modern air combat. The swing-wing, terrain-following radar, and long-range strike concepts live on in today's aircraft. It wasn't perfect, but it showed the world what was possible when innovation pushed the boundaries of aviation. So, what do we make of the F-111 Aardvark? It wasn't the prettiest, it wasn't the easiest to build, but it was one of the most capable multi-role strike aircraft of the 20th century. It was a bomber, a fighter, a reconnaissance jet, and an electronic warfare platform all rolled into one. It carried nuclear bombs, precision-guided weapons, and even managed to inspire aircraft that came after it. In the end, the F-111 wasn't just a Cold War machine, it was a symbol of ambition, risk-taking, and the never-ending pursuit of air superiority. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the General Dynamics F-111 Aardvark, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more legendary aircraft stories, and let me know in the comments what's your favorite Cold War jet. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies.